Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Should have received the meeting minutes from 5/13/21. Look for a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from 5/13/2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have unanimous consent. Is there any further discussion? Motion carries.
Joe, do we want to do a roll call?
Yeah, I guess we should have. I'm sorry, I jumped right over that, didn't I? Okay, Joe, do you want to call the roll?
You got it. Thor Ackery. Absent. Sherry Ackery. Absent. Dan Darren. Absent. John Edwards.
It's like he's here.
Is he here?
Hey, just
That's the other,
that's state rep.
nope, that's Jade was the council member.
Oh, budget committee. Okay.
He's,
All right, former budget committee
He's
chair.
sitting in for Denise tonight, I think.
Okay.
Tom Healy.
Too many Edwards around
Here.
here.
Cynthia Isherwood.
Here.
Mike Janik.
Present.
Judy Jones.
Present.
Dave Ferry.
Here,
Joe Souza.
Present.
And Joseph Schramm. I am present.
All right, we had item 5 was discussion, possible vote on resolutions. Tom, are you able to put that up?
Let's see.
Resolutions?
yeah, we got him.
Let me, hold on.
It's difficult for me to go to that screen and still watch what's going on in the meeting, so.
Yeah, I will do that. It might take me a minute. Let's see.
Soon everybody did receive the email with the revised resolutions. Would have been just what, day before yesterday, I believe we received it.
There were a couple updates. I sent each one out. Yeah, there was an update, I believe, yesterday or the day before.
Were the updates, were they just the dates or was it changes to the language? Did you,
I believe the most recent update, there was a few changes in the language.
all right, so.
Can you see the,
Yeah, that's
Resolutions.
came up. So we'll start with resolve number 1. Resolve that the expense and revenue budget, both itemized by account, that support the proposed for appropriation and tax levies, which receives the majority of votes cast by the electors at this financial town referendum, shall be adopted as the Tiverton General Fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. These are pretty standard. We pretty much pass this one every year. So is there any discussion on this? Resolve number 1.
So you want motions to accept them individually?
I'll tell you what, Dave, how about do me a favor and read number 2, read 3, 4, 5, and read through them, and then we'll vote on them as a.
There you go. Sounds good. Resolve that municipal capital account be restricted for the intended purpose and that no transfer are authorized out of those accounts except to other municipal accounts in a declared state of emergency. That's number 2. That's standard. I think we have that one every year. Number 3, that if the electors at this financial town referendum appropriate a sum for the municipal operation and capital expense that includes the amount to fund the election account to fund the revaluation account, said amount shall be placed in the restricted reserve revaluation reserve account to be used solely for the purpose of funding property revaluations. I think that's kind of a standard one also.
The only thing on
There's more to it. Funds remaining in this restricted account at the end of June 30th, 2022 shall be carried over to the same account for the fiscal year 2023. And I think that's kind of normal.
Yep.
Number 4, we're all on the way, but I'll read them off the paper here. That the electors at this financial town referendum appropriate a sum for the municipal operation and capital expenses that included an amount to fund electors account. Said amount shall be placed in a restricted electors reserve account to be used solely for the purpose of funding future elections and a financial town referendum budget shortfall and runoffs if necessary. Funds remaining in the restricted account at the end of June 30th, 2022 shall be carried over into the same account for the fiscal year 2023. So I think that's pretty much okay.
Yeah, pretty much every year.
Yep. Number 5, resolve that account 5540/67/94 pavage, draining, curbing, and sidewalk account shall be a restricted account to be used solely for the purpose of paving, drainage, curbing, sidewalks. Funds remaining in the restricted account at the end of June 30th, 2022 shall be carried over into the same account for the fiscal year 2023. That's normal. Number 6, okay. That the unencumbered funds as of June 30th, 2022 shall be returned to the general fund with the exception of Public Works Department unencumbered funds, which will be placed in the restricted paving, drainage, curbing, and sidewalk accounts. And that one's been there before. And the last one, to the extent not in conflict with the budget proposed approval at the financial town referendum and any other revenues raised by the town through the pay-as-you-throw program in fiscal year 2022 shall be restricted for the landfall closure consistent with the prior year. Funds remaining in the restricted account at the end of June 30th, 2022 shall be carried over to the same account for fiscal year 2023. So that's all of them. I think basically the same. I don't know if anything changed that much in them.
The only one I noticed, there was one there and said fun, and there was a D missing. I think it was number
Actually, you're right. And that was back
number
in
6.
6.
John had some questions on number 6, and I did as well. If we wanted to put that on this year, instead of just letting that money roll back in to replenish the general fund.
Yeah. Yeah, number 4, it's FUNS instead of FUNDS funds. Other than that,
So anyway, so we're gonna leave
Can somebody email me these?
and
So
he gets again.
okay, I'll make a motion to accept and move forward the budget committee's FY 2022 resolutions.
I'll second that.
all right, I just wonder what people's feeling on number 6. Am I the only one that thinks maybe we want to leave that off this year? It's just my thought that the fund should roll back into the general fund because we're pretty much depleting the general fund again this year.
Well, Joe, don't we,
Maybe last week was down 50 weeks, and this week's too.
And that was one that, I know myself, John had emailed me about that too. That's why I was hoping he'd be here this evening. I mean, it's up to does anybody else have a objection to putting 6 on this year, or is it just me and John?
I'll go along with you, Joe.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Joe.
Me too, Joe.
Well,
I can't get to the spreadsheet. Does anybody know what we're carrying over in this year's budget in that line item?
I don't have an updated spreadsheet.
I think Tom sent one out today.
Yeah, he did. I just
You did?
get around the screen.
well, I'll throw out the usual question mark to Chris Cotta. How he feels about resolve number 6.
Well, it would, because we're not having any paving monies in the budget. I'm not sure that you shouldn't do this.
Well, it's just my personal opinion that now that capital is being taken care of by the council, that all capital and all paving and everything else should be done through that
Just so you
casino
know,
account. I mean, if the casino's reopening, it's chances are we're going to get some money again next year.
so there is no resolution for FY21 to have any excess funds divert to municipal capital at all. There is no resolution for it for this year.
I just don't think there should be next year either.
So Chris, answer me a question. If
You know, it's,
if we do get some casino money, or more than what's expected, that would also go into the general fund, correct?
we'll go into the general fund and then slide over to the municipal
Restricted.
gaming reserve fund.
The gaming reserved fund. Okay.
There's no gaming money in this budget at all, and it's not accessible.
Okay. And
So they
all
set it
the
up by ordinance that once it goes in the general fund, it gets reserved into they need to create the committee to, carve out monies for the school, for the town, for
okay.
whatever it is that they're gonna do with this money. And I think that they should get Joe Almond actually back in and explain how Lincoln actually did this so that we can cobble together a process where those monies get, reserved and spent solely on capital.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. How about money that's coming back from COVID that has to be spent, or could that go into the reserve?
That cannot be used. That's going to, we're expending that for COVID-related expenditures. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's not, it wouldn't come in as general revenue. We have to account for it.
okay. But that should help us towards alleviating some of the money that will be spent eventually, right?
We're stripping it out to pay our overtime accounts right now because they're bleeding money faster than you can blink an eye.
I got you. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just trying to figure a way of getting money back into the general fund.
I think one way is to allow the money that's left over at the end of the year to just roll back in general fund without restriction. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
this is just one resolve that does a little bit of that. So
But, it's your call. I mean, the council's obviously going to do their resolutions as well, so.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
Could you just have somebody email me the resolutions you do pass?
Yeah, I can do that, Chris.
Thanks.
well, I mean, Dave's motion has a motion that accepts all 7. Does anybody want to amend that motion? The amendment would remove 6 and we'd vote 1 through 5 and then 7.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'll make the motion if Judy wants to second it.
Judy seconded it. So we have a motion and a second. We'll vote on the amendment first. The amendment would be to accept resolves 1 through 5, and then number 7, leaving 6 off.
But was mine, just for clarification, was mine second? Because if it was, then you have to vote on that one first.
I thought we'd vote on the amendment and then the main motion.
We have to vote on them in order, and mine was first. I just want to play by the rules here.
That's the way we have been doing it. We voted on the amendment and then we
Yeah.
voted on the main motion.
Okay,
You're gonna do the main motion, so we'll vote on the amendment first.
okay.
So, all right, I'm gonna ask if we have unanimous consent on the amendment. Are there any objections? Then I'll say the amendment passes. Now, we had a motion and a second on the main motion. We'll vote on the main motion.
Well, if that passed, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said we did. Yeah.
Well, I don't
That
know why.
last was just a meeting before.
Yeah,
Denise-
okay, no problem.
Reminded me, you have to vote on the amendment, then the main motion. So the main motion, we have unanimous consent on the main motion. Further discussion. Motion carries. So we adopted 1 through 6 and 1 through 5 and 7, left 6 off.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, so we were doing a discussion, presentation of current. Oh, wait a minute. We didn't do revenue, right? Okay. All right, I'm screwing up here. I'm sorry. I forgot to check it off.
Number 6.
Yep. Current unrestricted general fund numbers and revenue updates. We had a update on this in the last meeting, so if nothing has changed, I think Chris has left us.
So, if I remember right, we left this where there was, where did we leave this, Tom? Under item 4915, under sports betting, we had put $120,000. Those monies really need to come in to the stamp tax because there is no resolution for the open space of the 10%. So there's $50,000 that will be generated approximately for next year. That would, because it's about the same amount of money we would be collecting this year, and we're going to transfer the $50,000 from this year, and then we'll do a full accounting of where we are with the resolution to resolutions and determine legally what we can and cannot take. So there's 100 of the 120,000. You can put the other 20,000 under town administrative miscellaneous revenues and eliminate it from the sports betting.
So I'll ask for a motion to accept the numbers as presented.
I'll make that motion to accept the numbers as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion second. Do we have unanimous consent? Further discussion? Okay, motion carries. We have discussion and possible vote on grand total for capital expenses. This includes school capital, which was page 16 in the docket. So this was our final vote.
Some of these were moved from the previous meeting.
So we've got library services highlighted. Is that intended? 6630?
I must have missed it.
You on the capital?
I thought we were doing expense.
We just,
Sorry,
we already accepted the,
capitals. Yep, my bad.
we're on capital expense.
Yeah.
Including school. Do we have a final number, Tom?
Yeah, I think that 54,118,092.
Tom, can you hear us?
That's the final number, right, Tom?
Are you under capital?
No, that's grant, that's general funded.
General fund expenses.
Oh,
Total.
okay.
We're doing capital right now. It's
We're
just
doing
above.
possible vote on grand total of capital expenses, including school capital.
Okay, so that number is
Capital
21.
expenditures, including school, was
Yeah, that's 21,611, 236. Should be.
no, it's
No, that's,
$220,140, right? Total capital expenses, including school.
correct. That's
Yeah.
the number. You're,
Yeah,
Dave,
was-
you're including all municipal expenses.
Right.
All right, so you're just,
I believe they're looking at just the capital expenses, including capital, which is if you look at the SRO, then you see municipal expenses,
yeah,
total capital, including school capital. It's
So if-
220,140.
If there's not already, I'll make a motion to accept the total capital expenditures of 221,40.
By the way,
I'll second that.
okay,
It's 220,140.
140, right.
Your motion in a second. You have unanimous consent?
Who is the second on that, Joe?
Mike.
I second it. Mike,
Thanks, Dave.
All right. All right, motion carries. Discussion possible vote on grand total general fund expenses.
That's the total budget altogether.
yeah, that's the 54, 118. Yeah. 118, 092. I'll make a motion to move that number. 54, 118, 092.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Dave Perry, second by Mike Jenick. We have a motion, a second. We have unanimous consent. Further discussion? Okay, the motion will carry. Okay. Review of associated artifacts to be submitted by the Budget Committee.
No, you're ahead of yourself. Review of the draft
Number
docket.
10. Number 10, Joe.
How the hell? I'm still doing these stupid little printouts. Somebody's gotta come here and show me how to make my printer print out larger than a
Review
post.
of draft docket to be submitted by the Budget Committee. Tom Haley, Chris Cotta.
You need a teenager, Joe.
I'm telling you, it's frustrating.
10-year-old. That's all you need.
All right. So,
Want me to read it, Joe?
Tom and Chris were listed.
so presumably we're going to be talking about the entries on the detailed tax levy worksheet, correct?
I think just the first chance a lot of us got to see it that aren't, in the loop. So
Right.
this will give the public a chance to look at some of this. So I was just hoping we could review it
Right.
on screen, and when people watch, to get a sense of where we're going.
So this is where we actually took the, where in our last previous meetings, we were over the levy cap. We were at 7.64%. We needed $1,000,003 something to get under the cap. We worked with, Tom and myself worked to present some numbers to you at the last meeting, which you did adopt, and I think that they're all incorporated now to get to the levy number below 4%. Correct, Tom? I don't know if you can't hear me.
I think he's in and out.
So Tom, this incorporates all the changes we made together, correct?
That is correct with those 3 updates that I got from our treasurer,
So what were the 3 updates?
our tax assessor. I mean, the numbers just changed very slightly. They're in yellow on the screen. Line 11 is the ultimate tax levy last year for real and personal property.
Okay.
Changed just slightly. It's now
So do you know if it went up or
37,
down?
44,595.
Hang on, let's see what it was, what I had.
Chris, it's now 37,744,595. What did you have?
So I'm looking at.
Oh,
Last year,
okay.
I thought we had 39. It's not, because I did it differently. It was 37,737 is what I had, so.
Right.
Oh, wow.
It's
That was the
now
old number.
37,744.
595.
595, okay.
Yep.
What else has changed, um,
Yeah, the other numbers are both the assessed values for this year and last year.
Line 18 and 19.
Yeah, line 18 and 19, they both went up, I believe.
2,725,000.
Right.
So
And-
instead of 2,690,000 is what we did have,
I believe so.
right? Tom, is that the last number I had?
What was that last number?
2,690,000 is what I had.
Right.
So that
Yes.
changed to 2,725,000.
25. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I wish Dave Robert didn't need these numbers. And so last year's number changed from 2,330,000 to
Right.
2,331,000.
Yep. 352,135.
Okay. So I can update my sheets and we should be on target now.
Right. I did send detailed updates this morning.
You sent it to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on a copy.
All right, I was a little tied up this morning with some governance people. All right, so I'll make sure that those the numbers look that they're fairly accurate though, as far as the calculation goes, because that wouldn't have changed it that much. And Dan Darren says he's in, so hang on. I don't know if he came in the meeting.
I am on the call.
Okay, all right. I'm just
What time did Dan get here so I can put it in the log?
about 8 minutes ago.
I sent an email.
I put him in at 7:20.
Copy that.
Tom, Chris, do you have anything else?
I'm fine with what Tom has. Out between today and Thursday, we will reconcile again and make sure we are absolutely on target. But it looks to me like those numbers are perfect based on those changes.
All right, we don't want any bake sales. We got to get this.
We're not doing big sales.
Yeah, it's an old joke.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the joke. Believe me, I
Oh.
know it very well.
I know you were there.
Right. So if all that's okay, it just gets carried down onto this next summary tabulation that ultimately just calculates the property tax. That all this information is calculated in the previous sheets. It's just a summary. And it follows the format that was submitted year after year. So
Well, that's good. So that gave us what kind of a tax decrease? Do you remember what it came up to? We were at 9.9 at 1459. So
yeah, but I didn't quite hear that, Chris.
I'm just looking to see what the tax decrease was on a percentage basis. I can do it. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, that's a problem with this hybrid thing. That we're gonna have to figure out a better sound system.
Yeah, right.
That's why we're doing this tonight, to try to work our way through this.
All right.
I'll get rid of the video.
Are we ready to move on to the next item? Tom Haley?
Yeah, the last thing we usually do, and this is where I have a bit of a question. This goes with, we forgot to do it last year. And it ended up being done at the last second. So I sort of made these words that we come up with, I incorporated them into a spreadsheet so the numbers are all automatically calculated correctly. And then I added some text around them. So this will go on top of our resolutions. You know, it'll be the leading paragraph to our resolutions. It really is quite a pared down summary of what we're asking from the town.
Yeah.
You know, the only little thing that we may have gotten in trouble a little bit last year is the capital expenses for the school. Well, they don't have any this year. Is that correct?
That's correct. We did not have any.
So, in keeping with the format of the previous submittals, including the number that, and it says it includes the capital expenses. Maybe I should parenthetically say that which are 0 this year. That would be clearer. Or I could just say include. I could just leave it as it is.
No, I think it's pretty clear. You know, they straight and to the point is better. You know, just the facts.
Okay. All right. Which means I'm not going to get into detail about that they don't have any capital expenses.
I would just take out and capital expenses.
Okay.
And leave the colon.
All right.
I think that's a good idea. Just leave it general operating.
Okay. So just a point of discussion though. I think last year we had trouble because we didn't distinguish between capital expenses for the school and the capital expenses for the town. Apparently that was kind of a no-no. I hear.
That'd have been a year before, because I don't.
Yeah.
Where did that come from, Tom? That it was a no-no.
Jeez, I don't know. Maybe it was just editorial comments that were complaining about the budget. So someone had pointed out that we're not supposed to have our hands on any of that money. The school decides what it wants to do, and we're not, that type of thing. Even though last year we thought we were helping the school, but I think, or the year before, by taking it out of their hands and allowing them to have a bigger number.
So the issue, Tom, just so that we're all clear, is if we do put the capital money in their budget, it becomes a maintenance of effort issue. So that's, it's something we'll have to wrestle with when we do have capital monies. The issue is they need to still budget for it as a capital budget.
Right.
So that we can get reimbursement for it when we do major projects.
Well, like everything else, right? And the school department sends in the bills and the treasurer sends over the funds, right? So it's, it's not the council controlling the capital. It's, it just goes in the general fund. They go through the process. So maybe people didn't understand that. I don't know.
I think the bottom line is that the town owns the schools.
Exactly, the town building.
Right, they own the buildings.
Same with the library. It's a town building.
Right, they don't own the buildings. We do.
Right.
Are we ready to move off of 11?
Okay.
Tom, you all set?
Yep, that's it.
All right. Number 12 was discussion possible vote on budget line items open to the entire budget. This was put here in case we wanted to add or subtract different line items. I don't know of any right now, but we kept it on the budget, on the docket, just in case things occurred. So was there any line item in the budget that any member would like to discuss? Okay. I'll motion for adjournment. Can I have a,
So
So
before you,
moved.
before you
Oops.
do the adjournment, just,
Wait.
I would appreciate if you give Tom and I the ability to craft what a docket would look like for your next
Yeah.
meeting.
okay, I thought that was a given. I'm sorry. Do we need that in the motion? No, we can't.
No, you don't need it. Just, I just wanted that clear before you ended your meeting. It's just
Oh,
guidance
yeah.
from Tom and I, that's all.
Yep, that was a given. And keep
Okay.
Joe Schramm in the loop so he
Yep,
can
no, we'll definitely do that too.
report to us, and everything should work out well. And Tom, thank you very much for your dedication to the budget committee this year. Pulled a heavy load, and Chris, I hope made it easy for everybody. So,
No, been a
Yeah.
pleasure working with you all, so it's,
all right, I believe we have one more meeting, finalize minutes, and Joe Schramm. Sorry,
Yes,
I didn't
sir.
pay attention to the agenda for the next meeting. We had a couple of things on the next agenda, correct, for Thursday?
Yep.
Correct.
so everything is square. He's got it with the Secretary of State. It's been posted around town. It's, you're good to go. So.
All right, then.
Joe,
We had a
you're doing
motion
good
and a
job.
second for adjournment.
Second,
All right, we had unanimous consent. No discussion. I'll say good night. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you, guys.
My internet worked through the whole meeting. This is great.